I talk to women all the time who say, we don't really have any problems. And when I dig deeper, what I find is this. Yes, they don't have problems because they've stopped expecting anything. They've lowered the bar so much, so far down that there's nothing left to be disappointed by. Wow. Welcome to School of Wife, where we treat marriage like the high stakes, high reward life skill that it actually is. I want to start today with a question. Think about your marriage 5 years ago. Now think about it today. Is it closer, warmer, more connected, or has something shifted? Most marriages don't end with an explosion. They don't end with betrayal or dramatic blow up. They end with a fade. Today we're naming something subtle but devastating. It's the difference between drift and direction. And I'm giving you a simple way to figure out which one you're in. Now, let's define drift, because we use that word casually, but we don't really unpack it. Drift is not conflict. If you're fighting, you're not drifting. Fighting means you actually still care enough to engage in the fight. Now, drift isn't stillness either. Here's how I think about it. Drift is being carried somewhere you didn't choose to go to. Picture a boat on the ocean with no one at the wheel. It's not sitting still. It's still moving. But it's moving wherever the current takes it. That's what happens in marriage when no one is steering. You're still moving through life together, but you're not moving toward each other. And here's the thing. No one decides to drift. No one wakes up and says, I'm going to just stop choosing my husband today. No one says that. It just happens. Slowly, quietly. One little missed moment at a time. Let me show you what drift looks like in real life. So, you're in the same room, but you're on different screens. You talk about the kids' schedule, but you don't talk about each other. You sleep in the same bed, but you haven't really touched each other in weeks. Nothing is wrong, but nothing is alive either. You're just coexisting. You're coordinating. You're co-managing, but you're not connecting. Drift is what happens when a marriage runs on autopilot. And here's what you need to hear. Autopilot always leads to slow descent. Always. It never climbs. It never improves on its own. Without intentional input, things slowly just get worse. Now, here's why drift is so dangerous. It's very dangerous. And here's why. Drift triggers no alarms because there's no crisis. There's no confrontation. There's no obvious loss or issues. Nobody's cheating. Nobody's yelling. Nobody's walking out. Nobody's slamming doors. So you assume you're fine. You tell yourself, we're not fighting. That must mean we're okay. But here's the truth. It doesn't really mean that. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Absence of conflict is not presence of connection. Just because you're not fighting doesn't mean you're close to each other. It doesn't mean that. I talk to women all the time who say, we don't really have any problems. And when I dig deeper, what I find is this. Yes, they don't have problems because they've stopped expecting anything. They've lowered the bar so much, so far down that there's nothing left to be disappointed by. Wow, that's not peace. That just means you've resigned yourself to the situation at hand. And here's what makes drift so hard to fix. What erodes quietly is hardest to repair intentionally. Now, before we go any further, let me pause here for just a moment. If what I'm describing feels familiar to you, if you're realizing this isn't a crisis, but it's not alive either, then this conversation matters for you. It does matter. And I don't want you finding this episode by accident and then disappearing again. So, this is what I want you to do. If you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, please hit that subscribe button right now, because what we're doing here isn't quick inspiration. That's not what we're doing. It's training your awareness so that you can catch drift early before it costs you years. Each episode builds on the last episode, and direction only works when it's consistent. Okay, so let's keep going. So what is the opposite of drift? What is it? What's the opposite of drift? What do you think? It's actually direction. So I want you to be clear about what direction is, because people often get this wrong. Direction is not speed, it's not intensity, it's not elaborate date nights or deep conversations every day. That's not what I'm talking about. Direction is consistency. Small, repeated choices that say, I still see you and I still choose you. So direction is the check-in before bed. Not, did you lock the door? But instead, how are you? How are we? Direction is the hand on his back as you pass in the kitchen. Not because you need something, but because you wanted to touch him. Direction is asking, even when you're tired, what was the best part of your day today? These moments only take seconds, but they compound. Drift happens by default, but direction, that happens on purpose through consistency. And that's good news, because it means you have control. Now, 3 ways to create direction this week. Let's talk about that, because this is not just theory. We're going to talk about how to fix this. Pick one. Let's start today. Pick one. How about the daily temperature check? Once a day, ask, how are we doing? You're not asking about the kids, about the schedule. Just how are we doing? You're asking about us. Number 2, I want you to track your toward movements. Notice bids for connection and whether you turn towards each other or you turn away. This is because awareness is the first intervention. Number 3, I want you to schedule 1 negotiable hour on your calendar for your marriage. I meant 1 non-negotiable hour on your calendar for your marriage, because what gets scheduled gets protected, and what gets protected will get attended to. So I hope you've learned that drift isn't failure. It's a pull. It pulls us all. And every marriage will drift without intentional movement towards a particular direction. Every single marriage will drift without this. So the question isn't whether you've drifted, it's whether you catch it and what do you do with it next. So in the next episode, we're tackling a myth I hear everywhere, that communication is the real problem in marriages. Spoiler alert, it's not. So, till next time, go practice some of those steps, and I'll see you then.